Think about this. How many times have you seen a stunningly beautiful woman struggling to keep a man interested? Or on the other hand, a woman who isn't conventionally attractive yet effortlessly captivates high-value men? What's really happening here? Today we're diving deep into what truly attracts men beyond just looks. And trust me, the last point we'll discuss will change everything you thought you knew about attraction. But before we get into this, make sure to subscribe to Female Red Pill, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. The insights we're about to reveal will challenge mainstream beliefs and expose hidden truths about male attraction that most women don't understand. Most people assume that men are purely visual creatures, that their desires start and end with physical beauty. And while appearance plays a role, it's only a small part of the equation. What really keeps a man intrigued, invested, and obsessed with a woman? That's what we're about to uncover. To truly grasp this, we must step outside the conventional narrative and examine attraction through the lens of red pill critical analysis. Mainstream relationship advice focuses on surface-level tactics, but the reality is much deeper. If men only cared about looks, why do we see men leave beautiful women for others who, by society's standards, are considered less attractive? The first hidden element of attraction is femininity in energy and behavior. This is something modern women have been conditioned to ignore or even reject, yet it remains one of the most powerful forces of attraction. Men are biologically wired to be drawn toward feminine energy, not just in appearance but in movement, demeanor, and emotional expression. Dr. David Buss, one of the leading researchers in evolutionary psychology, explains in his book The Evolution of Desire that men across cultures consistently prioritize traits like warmth, kindness, and responsiveness in long-term partners. Chapter 6, pages 112 to 118, detail how men instinctively gravitate toward women who exude nurturing, cooperative, and emotionally stable energy. This is not about weakness, it's about complementarity. A woman who understands the power of her femininity and uses it strategically holds an advantage over those who try to compete with men on masculine terms. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how men react to women who maintain their softness even in moments of disagreement? A woman who knows how to challenge a man without becoming combative instantly stands out. Contrast this with a woman who argues aggressively, trying to dominate the interaction. This repels masculine energy rather than drawing it in. Now, let's go even deeper. Beyond femininity, another crucial element is emotional intelligence and understanding of male psychology. A woman who truly understands men, not just what they say but what they don't say, possesses a rare and valuable skill. The modern dating market is filled with women who expect men to operate based on feminine logic, failing to recognize the core differences in male emotional processing. A high-value man is not going to verbalize all his needs. He's not going to tell you outright that he needs respect, admiration, and space to lead. But a woman who understands this and naturally aligns with his psychology creates an irreplaceable bond. Research by Dr. John Gottman in The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, Chapter 3, pages 47-52, shows that relationships thrive when women recognize and respond to men's unspoken emotional needs. When a woman respects a man's decision-making process instead of constantly questioning and challenging his authority, he feels safe with her. And safety in this context doesn't mean the absence of danger. It means emotional predictability and trust. Now let's pause and reflect. Have you ever noticed that the women who seem to keep men deeply interested, beyond their looks, are the ones who know when to speak and when to listen, when to challenge and when to support? This is not manipulation. This is an understanding of polarity. But this is just the beginning. The next revelation about what truly attracts men is something that most women fail to realize, yet it makes all the difference. And if you ignore it, no amount of beauty, charm, or intelligence will keep a high-value man hooked. Do you want to know what it is? Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to break down a concept that will completely change your perspective on male attraction. Now that we've uncovered the power of femininity and emotional intelligence in attraction, let's take this further. There's another key factor that determines whether a man becomes deeply invested in a woman, or if he simply enjoys her company temporarily before moving on. It's a woman's ability to inspire admiration and respect. Most women today are taught that attraction is about getting a man to like them, but there's a huge difference between a man liking you and a man admiring you. A man can like many women, but he will only commit to a woman he deeply respects. So, what creates this admiration? It's not dominance, control, or trying to outshine him. It's about embodying a high-value mindset and having standards that naturally command respect. In The Rational Male, Rollo Tomassi discusses the concept of frame in relationships, particularly in Chapter 9, pages 178-184. He explains that a woman who respects a man's leadership while maintaining her own self-respect creates the strongest relationships. She does not demand admiration. She inspires it by the way she carries herself, the way she interacts, and the way she holds boundaries. Think about this. Have you ever seen a man completely captivated by a woman, not because she chases him, but because she operates on a level where he knows he has to earn her commitment? This is the key. Men are wired to value what they work for. If everything is handed to them without effort, they may enjoy it momentarily, but they will not respect it in the long run. Now let's address something uncomfortable but necessary: the over-giving trap. Many women believe that the way to secure a man's love is by constantly giving their time, their emotional support, their sacrifices, and even their resources. But paradoxically, this often leads to men losing interest. Why? Because when a woman gives too much without requiring anything in return, she devalues herself in his eyes. Dr. Robert Glover, in No More Mr. Nice Guy, Chapter 4, pages 92-97, explains this dynamic clearly. Men instinctively value challenge and contrast. A woman who has standards and expectations keeps a man engaged because she signals that her time, attention, and affection are valuable. Have you ever noticed how men chase the women who seem just slightly out of reach? This isn't a game. It's biology. When a woman maintains her own life, her own passions, and her own identity outside of a relationship, she remains mysterious and intriguing. The moment she abandons herself in an effort to win a man, she loses the very essence that attracted him in the first place. Now let's go even deeper. Another major factor that determines long-term attraction is a woman's emotional stability and mystery. Modern dating culture often encourages women to be overly expressive about their emotions, exposing every thought and feeling as a form of honesty. But here's the truth. Mystery is power. Men are drawn to women who evoke a sense of discovery. When a man feels like he has figured a woman out completely, the excitement fades. In The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene describes in Law 6, pages 45-50, how those who maintain an air of unpredictability keep others intrigued. The same applies to relationships. This doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means maintaining a level of emotional self-control and not revealing every thought and feeling immediately. A woman who knows when to express vulnerability and when to hold back creates an emotional roller coaster that keeps a man engaged. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who tells you everything about themselves within the first hour of meeting? The mystery disappears, and so does the excitement. Contrast that with someone who reveals layers over time. You find yourself wanting to know more, wanting to dig deeper. That's the kind of emotional attraction that keeps men invested long after the initial spark. At this point, we've uncovered powerful insights about femininity, emotional intelligence, self-respect, and mystery. But there's still one more element that outweighs them all, something that determines whether a man not only stays, but sees a woman as irreplaceable. And if you don't understand this, nothing else we've discussed will matter. In the next part, we'll break down the ultimate secret of lasting attraction, the one thing that separates a woman who is a passing interest from a woman who is truly unforgettable. Stay with me, because what comes next will change the way you see relationships forever. We've explored how femininity, emotional intelligence, self-respect, and mystery shape attraction. But now, we arrive at the most powerful factor of all, a woman's ability to make a man feel like a winner in her presence. This is the ultimate secret, and it's something most women completely misunderstand. Think about this. Men are driven by a deep psychological need to conquer, to achieve, and to be respected for their accomplishments. This isn't arrogance, it's biology. From the beginning of civilization, men have competed for power, status, and resources, not just for survival, but for the admiration that comes with it. The woman who understands this and aligns herself with it becomes irreplaceable in a man's mind. Dr. Jordan Peterson, in Beyond Order, Chapter 7, pages 203-210, discusses the male instinct for competence and why men thrive in environments where their efforts are recognized and valued. A woman who sees and appreciates a man's strengths, without diminishing him, competing with him, or making him feel unnecessary, activates a level of loyalty and desire that goes beyond physical attraction. Now, this doesn't mean blindly praising a man or pretending he's perfect. It means genuinely recognizing his efforts and making him feel like a champion in his own life. Have you ever noticed that the women men cherish the most are the ones who make them feel powerful? Not by ego-stroking, but by showing admiration for their ambition, work ethic, intelligence, and leadership. In The Way of the Superior Man, David Data, Chapter 5, pages 62-67, explains that a man's greatest fear is feeling inadequate or incapable. A woman who constantly criticizes, questions, or belittles his abilities destroys the very foundation of attraction. On the other hand, a woman who believes in his vision and supports his drive without trying to control him becomes his greatest source of emotional security. This is what differentiates a woman who is simply liked from a woman who is adored. Now, let's address a controversial but undeniable truth. Men do not fall in love with the most impressive woman. They fall in love with the woman who makes them feel like the best version of themselves. Modern dating culture tells women to focus on becoming as independent, successful, and self-sufficient as possible, thinking that this will make them more attractive to men. And while self-improvement is always valuable, what many fail to realize is that men don't choose a woman based on her list of accomplishments. They choose based on how they feel in her presence. A man may admire a woman for her intelligence, career, or achievements, but if she constantly makes him feel like he is competing with her rather than growing with her, the attraction fades. This is why women who embrace complementary energy rather than competitive energy create the strongest bonds. They don't try to dominate the relationship or prove they can do everything better. Instead, they cultivate an environment where both partners can thrive in their natural roles. Now let's take this even deeper. The difference between being an asset and a burden. A high-value man does not want to carry unnecessary emotional weight. If a woman's presence in his life makes things more complicated, stressful, or chaotic, he will eventually distance himself, no matter how beautiful or intelligent she is. Robert Greene, in The Art of Seduction, Chapter 9, pages 175-180, explains that the most captivating women in history were those who lightened the burdens of powerful men rather than adding to them. They understood when to provide comfort, when to challenge, and when to step back and allow a man to lead. This doesn't mean being passive. It means being strategic. A woman who understands the right balance between support and independence creates an unbreakable connection. Let's be honest. The modern woman has been conditioned to believe that showing appreciation, admiration, and respect for a man's leadership is somehow a weakness. But in reality, it's a power move. A woman who knows how to inspire a man, challenge him in a way that fuels his growth, and support his vision without compromising her own self-worth is a woman who never has to chase. At this point, we've broken down some of the most important aspects of attraction that go far beyond looks. But we still have one final piece to this puzzle. Something so powerful that it determines whether a man sees a woman as just another option or as the only option. And if you don't understand this final key, everything else will fall apart. In the last section, we'll uncover the most critical factor of all, one that determines whether a man will not only commit, but stay fully devoted to one woman for life. Now we've covered powerful elements of attraction, femininity, emotional intelligence, self-respect, admiration, and the ability to inspire a man to feel like a winner. But there's one final and critical factor that truly solidifies a woman's place in a man's life. A woman's unwavering sense of self and her ability to create unspoken, irreplaceable value in his life. This is the ultimate secret. The women whom men view as irreplaceable are those who understand the importance of cultivating their own value beyond what they provide in the relationship. It's the woman who is secure in who she is and doesn't seek validation through her relationship with a man, but rather complements his life in ways he cannot imagine without her. This principle is deeply explored in The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi, particularly in Chapter 10, pages 210-215, where he discusses how women who maintain their own lives, passions, and sense of identity, while still being deeply supportive and loving partners, create a magnetic force that men can't resist. A high-value man is not just looking for someone to fill a space in his life. He's looking for someone who adds so much value that her absence would create a void in his world. This woman isn't someone who is chasing him or trying to keep up with him. She has her own identity, her own mission, and her own boundaries. She brings energy to his life without depending on him for her happiness or fulfillment. Think about it. The most captivating women are not the ones who make a man their entire world. They are the ones who have their own world, their own purpose, and their own passion. They choose to be with a man because he enhances their life, not because they need him to feel complete. But here's the catch. This doesn't mean being emotionally distant or unengaged. Quite the opposite. A woman with unwavering self-worth knows how to give love, admiration, and respect to a man, but she never does so at the expense of losing herself. She doesn't lose her own goals, her own beliefs, or her individuality. She doesn't bend to a man's will, and yet she creates a space where he wants to bend for her because her value is undeniable. This is the emotional foundation of a successful, long-term relationship that endures all challenges. Men will not stay with a woman who constantly seeks approval, who loses herself in the relationship, or who isn't clear on her own worth. A woman who brings her own irreplaceable value to the table doesn't need to chase. She commands respect, admiration, and devotion through the strength of her own character. And this, my friends, is the essence of what truly attracts men, beyond looks, beyond superficial charm, and beyond fleeting moments of connection. A high-value woman understands her worth, cultivates her life, and creates a dynamic where a man feels deeply privileged to be with her. When a woman has her own power and doesn't rely on a man for emotional validation, she becomes someone a man wants to protect, admire, and stay with for the long haul. So, now you know. The secret to lasting attraction isn't about playing games, pretending to be someone you're not, or focusing solely on your appearance. It's about knowing who you are, maintaining your own sense of self-worth, and creating a life so rich and full that a man will want to join it, not because he has to, but because he can't imagine life without you. If you've made it this far, I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think is the most important factor when it comes to what truly attracts men? And don't forget to subscribe to Female Red Pill, like this video, and share it with others who need to hear this truth. This content could change how you view relationships forever. And if you found this video valuable, make sure to check out these two related videos, where we dive deeper into Red Pill principles and how they can transform your understanding of dating and relationships. Trust me, you won't want to miss them. You won't want